my parents were like, you can collect one thing. And I was like, I want to be a collector of collections.
Yes!
So, got him, dude.
Beat the system! Hello, nerds! And welcome back to another episode of the Nerds Are Talking podcast. Today we are covering everything neurodiversity. Whee! Yippee! Yay! All three of us are very nerdy and also very neurodivergent. And I think that those two, in like a little Venn diagram, definitely go hand in hand when it comes to things like hyperfixations and your way of, especially with media, how you interact with it is like so defined by how your brain works. And I find that like being able to show my passions and my nerdiness and stuff in an online setting as a neurodivergent person is so helpful, because I can't do that in the real world with real people. That's scary. But my little online forms make me feel so safe and so happy. And today's episode is literally just going to be talking about all of that and life as neurodivergent people.
Yippee!
Yippee!
And you can really tell from that these are
Yeah, no, actually we're all neurotypical guys.
We're already
so,
starting
like,
with vocal stems.
We
Yeah.
feel so
Yeah,
comfortable in conversations with strangers, you wouldn't believe it.
I love socializing so much. No, in past episodes we've already very much been vocally stimulated. We've been talking about random shit that we know way too much about for a neurotypical person. Not saying that neurotypicals can't know. Okay. Anyway.
Watch it.
Watch it. But we've already been very open about this, but I feel like it's a very good place to talk about, because I love YouTube and lots of podcasts I watch and YouTubers I watch and TV shows I watch. Something I love to get from them is representation about neurodiversity, and they themselves have helped shape my way of viewing myself and my neurodiversity. And I think it's so important in media to have those representations. And one of the things I love about this podcast and want from this podcast is to be one of those representations for people to be able to feel better about being themselves.
Here we representing.
100%.
We represent! I do this wrong every time. I do the I love you ASL sign instead of like the
Rock on,
Shit.
dude.
Yeah.
Rock on, dude sign. But anyway, would anybody like to start saying words about neurodiversity?
Introduce like what our deal is individually, or
What's your
should we,
dealio, Michael? What's your dealio?
What's your
So,
deal?
as far as diagnosis is concerned, ADHD. There's probably some other stuff up in the mix, like cocktailing around in there. But I think what was fun was it's sort of been a late addition to my life, because I only had every single possible symptom of it growing up. And my mom was like, oh, he's just, he's excitable.
How would they know?
He's angry. Oh, no, they didn't. But
You
I
only had every single... How did you expect them to see the signs?
Exactly. It's like, who knew? Who could have possibly guessed that the kid who, I'm on currently a website, the guess that daydreams a lot, forgets lots of things, squirms and fidgets constantly, talks too much, makes careless mistakes or takes unnecessary risks, has a hard time, blah, 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 has trouble taking terms, have difficulty getting along with others, just down the list. That's a mean list here, but like just...
That is a mean list.
But like eventually it was like, oh, wow. I think this explains a lot. Oh, like if the TV's on, cannot hear a person talking. Because I'm like, I can't get both of you talking at the same time, you and television. I can't listen to anything. Oh, and dyslexia. I forgot about that one. That's a big one. Hey!
Hey!
Yeah,
Which is something
learned
you
to-
will notice in a lot of the editing, and at least at the point of recording this, I've currently been doing a lot of the replying to comments and like captions and stuff, and I keep telling myself, why the fuck am I doing this? Because I am also very heavily dyslexic, and I can't spell for shit. But it's fun!
It's rough.
We vibe!
Hey, you know, that's who we are. Avery, you dyslexic perchance?
Nope.
Oh,
Right, so
lucky.
Avery, why are you not doing all the
gotta
writing
get
for
it.
this podcast?
I have edited some of the captions on TikTok. That's why I was asking for the Instagram
there you go.
password.
Well, there you go. You know, we have one person here who can spell.
And you did it in such a nice way of not letting me feel bad about it, and then I'm out here being like, hey, why are you making me do this shit?
No. I didn't
But
say
yeah.
anything. I just did it.
So dyslexia, ADHD, that's mostly what I've got going on. I don't think any autism, but we'll see. I do talk about animals a lot.
Hey,
Yeah.
So we'll
I
see.
definitely want to touch on like diagnosis as a whole thing in a little bit, but first of all, Avery, what is your dealio?
Yes.
Well, we can get into diagnosis as a whole thing because as of right at this very second, I have not been diagnosed with anything. But that is because
perfect.
no, I'm not. That is because I was never taken to get diagnosed, but I have an appointment with a psychiatrist in 1 week.
Oh, so exciting!
That is so exciting.
I know, but I think it's very obvious to me and literally everybody else that I am on the spectrum somehow.
Wow.
We think autism.
We
Because,
think autism.
well, it's harder for women to get diagnosed just in general
True.
because we are so good at masking. But when I was a little kid, Meltdown Central, I don't know, like, I'm a big collector. I was back then, too. And my parents were like, you can collect one thing. And I was like, I want to be a collector of collections.
Yes!
Got 'em, dude.
Beat the sister!
Got 'em,
Damn.
dude.
Wishing for more wishes.
Diva!
And I've always hyperfixated on different things. And if you try to make prolonged eye contact with me, I get really uncomfortable.
Wow.
Valid. So
Yeah.
valid.
But my parents knew when I was a little kid, didn't get me diagnosed. So I had to go on a journey of it on my own. But not diagnosed, but pretty sure.
That's over that.
There's something wrong. I don't know what it is. It's not diagnosed, but I hear.
But it's there. We
I'll
got
update. I'll update in a
Yes,
week.
that'd be fun.
Update.
My brother was undiagnosed, real quick, with dyslexia, as far as undiagnosis is concerned, and then you can get to your deal. But my brother was undiagnosed with dyslexia for the longest time because, like, I was the dyslexic one. Come to find out, he is more severely dyslexic than I am. What a world.
Wow.
Icon.
Yep.
Crazy.
I'm here. No, sorry.
You're
I
thankful for
was. Are we though? Are we?
Yes.
I was diagnosed with dyslexic really young, and recently in 2020. 2021, 2020 something. I was diagnosed with ADHD, and I'm definitely also on the autism spectrum, but I am not diagnosed with that because, like Avery, my parents knew, but they decided not to get me diagnosed. In my dyslexia diagnosis, so I am the miracle child, which I absolutely hate. I was born 6 weeks, 6 days early. I was supposed to be an October baby, and I was born in August. I was born via C-section. My mum had, unfortunately, a lot of miscarriages before me. I was supposed to be a twin, but wasn't, because he died before the birth.
Damn.
And then my mum tried again after me, and ended up having to get an early hysterectomy. So I'm a miracle child in that aspect. I was late to every single developmental milestone possible.
Wow.
It happens.
Yippee! And had a lot of like speech therapy, vision therapy, all of that shit as a kid. But in my diagnosis report, it has dyslexia and it has dyspraxia. But it says in the reports that I had like all the signs of Asperger's, which is obviously now an outdated term for autism, but it says that in the report. But my mum did tell me throughout my whole teenage years that I was not autistic, and I did not find out until I was looking through the forms. And the only reason I'm diagnosed ADHD is because I paid for it myself and went and got the diagnosis at 18 because my mum refused to let me.
That's wild, but okay. Hey.
But I'm now on meds for it. I'm very much thankful for it. But had all the signs and symptoms as a kid. Very much had all my hyperfixations. Couldn't socialize. I went to like socialization therapy and shit like that. But I don't remember where I was going with my topic conversation. But I'm special.
Indeed.
On the topic of socialization, I think I'm the kind of person that overcompensates my awkwardness with like, oh, there's a person standing next to me. I feel like I have to say something to them.
Oh, absolutely.
And so I'm like,
yeah, everybody thinks I'm really extroverted, but it's because I'm so introverted that I'm extroverted. Because I'm so scared in social situations that I end up talking way too much and like feel like I need to tell everybody everything. But in turns, I hate that inside, but that is what I do because I'm so scared of the social situations. Like I don't just go quiet, I instead overcompensate going loud.
yeah.
Which makes me seem really extroverted, but I'm not.
No.
I don't like socializing. I think everyone hates me all the time, but I'm not going to speak like that because I have to pretend.
Aww.
That's not true.
No! We don't.
No! Stop.
No!
Stop it.
But let's talk about diagnoses. That's a great place to start. So we're all late diagnosed / hopefully going to be late diagnosed soon. Which is really interesting because, again, as Avery already touched on, especially with AFAB people, it can be so much harder to see the signs and symptoms as a child because of higher masking techniques. But also, I've found in general, it's become, even in the past, 2-3 years, so much more accepting of neurodiversity as a whole, especially in children, which I think is such a nice thing to see. I work with a child who has just been through the diagnosis process of getting ADHD and autism diagnosed and is at a specialist school to help him with the social aspects. And there are so many resources and stuff I can find online and even TikTok and Instagram and places like that of ways to support him, and half the time I find them very helpful for myself. But I feel like even a few years ago that was not the case, and it was sort of seen as a negative instead of... I'm not saying neurodiversity and disabilities are a positive, because they're definitely, in my view, not. I know there was that trend a couple of years ago where people were like, autism is my superpower. No,
God.
It's a disability. At the end of the day, we are disabled. But it's nice to see that it's becoming a lot more accepted as a whole, and in media, it's becoming a lot more often. You will see representation of it in a actual positive way of realisticness. There's some awful representation out there, Young Sheldon,
100%.
Bang Theory, and The Good Doctor, and stuff like that, where it's very stereotypically, this is what autism is. But it's been really nice to see in media with things like there's a TV show called A Kind of Spark, which is based off a book, which was wrote by an autistic author, and handles the main character having autism. And you've got The Pit at the moment, which is world famous, and that is the most amazing representation, because Mel on there is she doesn't fully understand that she's got autism yet, and it's really nice to see that they've put all the signs and symptoms to show that those who are neurodivergent are she's there, guys. She doesn't see it, but to be able to go through that journey with her of seeing her learn these techniques and stuff but still not realize to a degree even though she is so surrounded by it, is really interesting. And you've also got things like heated rivalry, which is a very big one in our community, in our little gay community as well, where, again, it's not actually touched on that in the show that,
Shane?
Yeah. I just fully blanked on his name then. It's not actually touched on in the show that Shane is autistic, but you see him as he is autistic and shows all the characteristics, but unless it's not actually said he's autistic, but they have touched of it in media, and Hudson himself, who plays Shane in Heated Rivalry, has talked about how he went about displaying this and like talking to producers and directors about how to bring that into the show, but they don't actually touch on it at all, and it's not a major story point or anything like that, which is so nice to see, because that's the sort of representation that actually matters. It's not about it being the main storyline and oh, he's so quirky, he's so weird, he's this or anything like that, and I'm not saying that any of that does relate, but it's about seeing it just be there. And it's the same with queer storylines and LGBT representation as well. Or any representation ever, to be honest. It's about the show having a plot that's completely not related to the representation, but the representation is still there in everyday life.
Yeah, 100%. I think what's cool, especially in like Heated Rivalry's case, is the fact that it is like canonical, that it is like a thing from, it's more explicit. So it makes the fact that the show is not just being like, oh, he's kind of autistic coded, like kind of a Sheldon situation, which that, thank goodness in a way that they don't make that explicit, but the fact that it is like, no, he is, but it is not the focus of the show is like, how's he gonna fall in love? Well, autistic. It's like, no, it's just an aspect of him as a wholly rounded person. And I think that's really cool.
And I'm sure so many people watching who aren't sort of aware of neurodivergent tendencies and stuff as much, if you are neurotypical and stuff, they might be watching the show and completely, like, unaware that he is autistic. And that's kind of the beauty of it in a way, is it's done so deliberately, like, as if you are neurodivergent, you see that and you see that representation and you can feel like that is you, but it's not then being pushed in your face to people that maybe it's not being made a bigger deal than it needs to be.
It's not like, oh, this is the show about autism. It's like, no, this is a character on a show that is made for everyone, that is made for a wider audience, which doesn't have to be like, oh, it's made it mainstream and that makes it valid, but it is cool that we need all kinds of stories. Again, it's about diversity, right? And that's not just diversity of people, but it is diversity of people, but it's also diversity of the kinds of stories being told about those people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it is a spectrum, and it is nice to see, unlike shows that are like The Good Doctor, where it's like, this is the show about a guy that has autism, but he's on a more severe end of the spectrum. Yeah. Whereas like Shane is more subtle. And that's how it is in everyday life. Like, you're not going to come across people like
both high needs and low support needs being shown, instead of it just being about the very obvious high support needs.
Absolutely.
Because when people think of somebody with autism or anybody that's neurodivergent or has a disability, it's usually they jump to the high need piece of it. And while that can be true, that's not the case a lot of the time.
And it becomes a stereotype, and then that stereotype becomes it becomes harmful. I think like stereotypes become harmful when everyone assumes like, oh, well then this person must not be autistic because they're not like the thing that I saw on TV, and like that's where it can actually become harmful.
And it's also so harmful for people that maybe are still discovering themselves and are neurodivergent themselves, and they see this media representation where it's only ever high support needs, so then they think to themselves, oh, so I can't be autistic, or I can't be, have ADHD because I'm not like that. And that's what the media are telling me is autism and ADHD. So seeing these characters where are lower support needs and are still, like, there and are being talked about of having these, like, neurodivergence being neurodivergent is so needed, not just for the people outside of the spectrum, but also for those people in the spectrum who just like are still discovering themselves. It gives you a way to like be able to be like, oh, okay, so maybe this is something I am. And not only in TV, like YouTube, like one reason I love Smosh so much is because they are like a bundle of diversity.
For sure.
And they are, again, it's not a main thing, but a lot of them are neurodiverse, or even if they are not, they are very supportive of it. And something I love about the production standpoint is there is a lot of stimming on that set. There is a lot of like talking about hyperfixations and making special videos in relation to the cast's hyperfixations. And it's all done in a very normalized way. And it's not making it seem like if you're in a professional setting, you have to be sat still in your desk doing this. Like, the set in general seems very like, from a behind the scenes aspect, like very accepting and stuff. And then they can just be themselves, and I'm sure they don't even notice how much of an impact that can make on viewers, because you can see yourself so much more. And like for me with stimming and stuff in general, I've always been a very fidgety person, but I would often feel very, especially in those like mid-teen years to like early 20s, very like scared to stim, maybe not the right word, but like embarrassed, that's the word I was looking for, like of needing to stim or getting really excited over things which maybe I shouldn't get as excited about. But then being able to see this representation, and I'm going to use Smosh as an example again because we all love it here, and getting to see like Angela get really excited over a game and everybody else in the room be excited for her excitement over something so minuscule is so nice to see, because it allows you to be like, oh, okay, so if these people are accepting her, that means other people will accept me.
100%.
Yeah,
and
Absolutely.
I've definitely felt that. It's been really nice to see, like, I'm sitting here fidgeting with my headphones right now, but you can't see it. But it is nice to see people being at work and being so fidgety and nobody's even looking at them. Like, that just happens.
It's great.
Because it is such a, I guess, like a taboo where it's like, oh, I need to stim. And people are like, oh, you're going to flap around like an angry bird. Like, don't do that. That's embarrassing. But it's fine. Like, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
If
exactly.
You have to do it, you have to do it.
Yeah. Like, stimming isn't just this big, you're flapping your hands, you're outwards, you can't sit still. Sometimes it is, like, just picking at your nails or something so minuscule that you might not even notice, but that is really grounding someone.
Yeah.
And seeing, like, those sort of things as well as the bigger stims where you're really excited and stuff like that. But also just the little, more casual ones, again, where it's not brought to attention. And they do that the same with dyslexia. In Smosh. This whole episode is just going to be a Smosh fan page at this point. Of Angela Giratana, who is one of the cast members in Smosh, has stated and is very open about the fact that she is dyslexic, and a lot of the time they will play word games and stuff and she will spell it wrong and they will either not notice it, or if they do acknowledge it, they acknowledge it in such a light-hearted, fun way. It is never, oh my gosh, I can't believe you spelled it wrong. It's a, oh my gosh, that's so funny. Hey, we're laughing with you. We're not laughing at you. We're having fun with you.
Yeah, it's additive to the joy of the episode. It's additive to the humor of the episode. And especially as like that being a big problem my whole life, is seeing that and seeing it so celebrated to a lack of effect, or like as part of the fun, as part of the social experience, is really nice. It's really cool to be like that, to see moments like that. I was going to make specific references, but again, we're not playing to a direct Smosh fan audience.
But if you guys haven't watched it, you're missing out.
It's great.
They are definitely one of our main inspirations, and you should definitely check out their videos.
and seeing like that kind of dyslexia, and also for people with autism, like having Damien on Smosh as such a great representation of late diagnosed but very clear autism, and like you see so many things that he has and does, and you're like, yeah, that makes fully sense, but it is again a different point on that spectrum and great representation for a different kind of person. He is very charming, he is very good in social situations, he is like this, but then also has sensitivities that maybe other people wouldn't, and also fixations, and also the way he blinks and like stuff like that. And it's so cool to have such a like funny, charming, cool guy also be representative of the autism community.
Or people like Jacksepticeye, who was even later diagnosed.
Yeah, his was pretty recent, isn't it?
Yes, it was like a year ago or so, I want to say.
Wow.
But he's not obviously super high need. So, like, obviously, if you are neurodivergent, you can tell. But it was a shock to a lot of people. But I was like, oh my gosh, like,
obviously,
I loved watching his videos when I was a kid. And it's like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense for me, actually.
Actually, this makes perfect sense.
And that's the best way of that representation of curing. But also, with all of these people in especially YouTube, I'm like, again, it's a whole different aspect with actors and stuff. But being, and especially for, like, me, I am somebody who really wants to get into the creative industry, and seeing these people who are neurodivergent and they have made it and they are so successful and they are, you know, living their life and they are doing all these absolutely fucking amazing, phenomenal things gives me so much hope, because on those days where I'm like, oh, I can't do it, I've got a disability, like, might as well just say I can't do it, like, you know, I'm never going to succeed, to then see them do it is so special. But also especially when they talk about how just because they're doing it doesn't mean they're not struggling, and things
100%.
that they have had to make compromises for because of the way their brain works. And at times there is going to be, like, it is a disability. Like, at the end of the day, there are going to be things you can't do that others can do, or it's going to be more of a struggle or more of a hardship. And it sucks to have to accept that, but you have to accept that to then be able to overcome it and find solutions and come up with accessibility, like, solutions for your needs and stuff. And it's really hard because you can want to do all these things and see successful people doing these things and be like, well, why can't I just do it? So it's really nice to hear people talk about the struggles they've had and ways they've had to adapt. So then you're like, oh, okay, so they've done it, but it wasn't easy for them. It wasn't just a straightforward line.
Yeah.
It took them a lot of challenges. So that means even if I'm having days where I can't get out of bed, they've had those days too. So I don't have to feel like so negative about it and that, oh, I'm never going to accomplish anything if I can't get out of bed today. Because these people that I absolutely admire, I look up to in like every aspect, especially creativity, they're having those same days. They're having bed rot days. They're having days where they just watch TV all day. And like that changed my mind in like being able to accomplish stuff, because it's so hard when, you know, especially with, I feel like ADHD and autism are two, where in particular it's executive function and things which are so little to people who are neurotypical, like showering, getting out of bed, like, but it's completely impossible sometimes for a neurodivergent person. Like, it's not a simple thing. And seeing, like, people talk about that is so special. And I'm now noticing, I said about 20 minutes ago, hey, let's talk about the diagnosis. And then I went on fucking...
Well,
no, but Avery, you can go.
Another thing that you brought up, Elle, about just doing basic tasks being so hard. We are neurodiverse, but we also have mental health things on top of that. And so sometimes the combination of the two can make stuff so much harder. And so it really helps having that representation that's like, you can take a break. You don't have to be normal every day just because society tells you you have to be normal. Because it gets really hard.
I think neurodiversity and like mental health issues do sort of go hand in hand, but at the same time don't. I think if you're neurodivergent, you've definitely most likely struggled with mental health, and if you haven't, say in the comments, because like,
Hey,
whoa,
good for
Hey,
you
give
might need
us
to
what
be
you
like
got.
studied, mate. I myself
Don't you?
am diagnosed with depression, anxiety. I have definitely had my struggles in mental health. I ended up dropping out of school early due to my mental health. I had like a really hard time with it. And it's definitely one of the factors of it is from the neurodiversity and the struggles I get from there. And it can be a lot harder to find ways to cope with your mental health, because a lot of the strategies that might work for some people won't work because you've got your neurodivergent brain saying, hey, we're not going to make it that easy for you. And like in general, I'm a very pro medications for anything in that way. And again, representation of people in media and the creative industry and just in general, talking about how they're on meds for stuff. There was a recent episode of The Pit where one of the doctors said they were on Lexapro, which is antidepressant, and it's like, first of all, that in media, but also as a doctor character, but saying like a doctor's on it, it's like, there's been such a stigma on being medicated for both mental health and neurodivergence.
100%.
And it's really nice to see that slowly being sort of abolished and
It's great.
being like, if meds are going to help you, take them. It's not,
And
at the end of the day, it's not always you, it's your brain.
And I think that is the big thing there about thinking about medications in that way and thinking about a world. Like, I'm currently unmedicated for anything, which God help me. But I think that
Same.
the way that people think about medications and even therapy, but sticking on medications, is to be like, oh no, like something is wrong with. I don't understand, honestly, the stigma behind having to take antidepressants. I think it comes from like a 90s thought about like, man, the Prozac generation. People don't even like, you're not feeling the world. You're numbing yourself with drugs. And it's like, no, that's not what it is. What it is that people's brains are... a bad way of saying it, but like in the same way that it's like, oh, if your arm is broken, you're going to take painkillers, well, that heals. If you have gastrointestinal issues, you're going to take Pepto-Bismol, you're going to take medications. If you have a bacterial infection, you're going to take antibiotics, right? It's like, oh man, you couldn't heal your own bacterial infection? What's wrong with you? No, you need the medication.
And on top
so
of
like-
that, being even more specific when it comes to mental health and neurodivergence, there are people, and I'm definitely probably one of them, where you'll have to start taking medication and you might be on it for the rest of your life, especially with ADHD and stuff like that. And that is the same as like a heart condition where you then have to take...
Exactly.
Exactly. If you have a murmur in your heart, if you have like AFib, you're going to have to take medication the rest of your life. And that's not a fault in yourself. That's not something wrong. You don't have to overcome that. Your heart does something weird. Something then corrects that or helps it correct so that you can live a more fulfilled, easier life. And I think that is the way to look at, like, with neurodivergence and with mental health, is like, if you have clinical depression, you're not going to outthink that. You're not going to like be like, oh, you're right, I should just be happier. Okay. Oh yeah, let me just reflect on all the things that I've accomplished. Like, no, there is a chemical imbalance in your brain that is not going to be corrected through thinking about it. And so, like, oh, you have to be on medication for the rest of your life. Good that they have that medication to help you live a more fulfilled life. And I am so sick of people having a stigma about that stuff.
And it's not going to solve... And it's not going to solve everything. Taking meds isn't going to be like the be-all goal. I wish it was, because me and my medication maraca, like, I take all the meds and still I struggle to get out of bed on days. So it's not it's not saying that just because you take meds it's going to be this miracle solution where you're then going to be able to function normally and stuff, but they can help you. And with mental health and neurodivergence, medication-wise in particular, it can be really hard to see that effect on yourself. So, like, if you are somebody thinking of taking meds or getting to that first steps, something I found, like, really helpful from other people telling me about it was have people you feel safe talking to about how they view you before your medication and when you're on your medication, because a lot of the time you might not feel the effect or see the effect yourself, but people around you might be like, oh my gosh, you're like a whole different person, like we see you being able to do these things. I saw a TikTok ages ago now, and it was a mum who started taking antidepressants, and she herself hadn't seen any difference, but then she showed 2 videos of like her baby cam, and one was her like trying to get her kid ready for school and like being really stressed and being like, come on, just get your shoes on, just get, that's come on, we gotta go. And then the other was being able to be like, okay, yeah, let's take our time and do this. And it's all just because like it's helped her stabilize, but in her mind she didn't see that difference. So having a safe network is so important. And when it comes like for anything in general, but especially like for things with mental health and neurodiversity, like rely on your find people you feel safe talking about the perception of yourself and the perception of them, and being able to have these kind of hard conversations. Because
and having those conversations without any judgment of just being like, this is just another part of the conversation we can have as a community, right? We have a friend who also has ADHD and is medicated for ADHD, and when I go to shows in her medication still is no longer effective. It's like, oh, we have unmedicated friend now, and like you can feel sort of the difference in how she acts and who she is, and it's still her. It's still a different sort of version, and it's sort of become fun, and there's nothing like wrong with this. Like, oh, you're unmedicated, or oh, you need to do like no. It's an aspect of her. It's just a thing that we talk about. It's a thing that we can have fun with, or just like be there in the conversation so much as like, oh, I didn't get enough sleep last night, or oh, I had a really fun experience this week and I'm riding high off of that. And an earlier thing that you were talking about, Elle, about like being excited about stuff, that is one that I have dealt with my whole life. Of when I love something, I am very much like, oh my god, I'm so happy, I love this thing so much, to the point where then I was like, oh, am I too much? Am I like am I putting
which you never
off?
are.
No,
and thank
your
you.
truth.
And neither are you. We're happy and we're excited about stuff, and that's awesome. And it took honestly a while to find people who I could be that excited with, other than like my brother, who also gets super excited about stuff but is way more calm about it. But he's like, yeah, I agree, that is great. But
I think that ties so nicely into online sort of the fandom bases, and just like being able to be online as a neurodivergent person. As anyone, it's a whole different place. But for me, it's so much easier to find people that have those same interests as you and talk about it for hours, and these sort of things, and share that same enjoyment. And I'm not saying you can't find those out in the real world or outside in your local like community and stuff, but when it's so hard to get out of the house and out of bed, and you're spending all these a very common theory with neurodivergence is the spoon theory, where you have a certain amount of spoons at the start of your day, and every task you do, it takes up a spoon. And for some people, as a neurotypical person, getting out of bed might be 1 spoon, but as a neurodivergent person, that might have already been 3 of your 10 spoons for the day. And it's sort of when it takes so much to already like just get out, and then you're anxious, and then you're this, it's going to be a lot harder to find those people. And they're usually spread out all over the place. Compared to when you go online, it can be a lot easier to find that direct path to people that have the same passions as you. And, a lot of the time, especially in like fandoms for YouTube and TV shows and stuff, people are neurodivergent, because that is the people that want to express their thoughts and feelings on this. And that's how we all met, was through from the Instagram fandom space for Smosh, and now have a group chat where we talk daily. And we're not always talking about this interest that we met on, but it was a stepping stone to now allow us to talk about
anything,
all the random stuff we're talking about, and daily fit checks and daily vlogs, and talking about work, and talking about mental health, and talking about all these things. But it all came from finding this basic interest we both had, and through something I love about fandom spaces is when you're in a fandom space, especially the fandom spaces you find yourself in, for example, Smosh, is it's going to most likely be a safe queer space, a safe neurodivergent space, a safe these, because that is the media that's being put out, which means it's a lot more likely, the people in that space are going to be safe. So you can then feel more comfortable. I went to say comfortable and confident at the same time. You can then be more confident. I did it again. You can then be more confident expressing your views and expressing your feelings and reaching out to people, and people will reach out to you. And it's just, for me, I spent a lot of my teenage years very depressed, not leaving my room, not leaving my bed, but I was able to escape through TV shows, and then I was able to find people and still have these social connections without leaving my house through Twitter at the time, which is now not a very fun place to be, but at the time it was great. And I would sort of live tweet TV shows as they aired.
What a good era. What a cool era of live tweeting TV shows.
It was so fun. I miss it dearly. And you would all connect over being like, hey, I loved when the character did that. And it's like, it's just, I will always be so pro internet fandoms, and there's a lot of people that say internet and stuff is bad, and it can be bad, and I'm not saying it can't be bad, and but especially for children and stuff. There's so much good too.
Because I think, to your exact point that you were going to say, I was going to bring up, people talk about get out there in the real world and actually find connection. People are always on their phones. And it's a lot of times when I'm on my phone, I am connecting to people. This is connection. This is a real, you talked about with the group chat and stuff about the fact that it's I don't have anyone in my real life circles that is really into Smosh and internet comedy and Dropout and AOA and all that kind of stuff. Artists for those not in the know. AOA. But
we're gonna have to add so many links in the descriptions to all these guys we're mentioning, but we love them all, so we will do it.
Absolutely. But not having anyone to really talk about that stuff with, and then I ended up meeting you guys and being on that group chat and doing that stuff, and it's so cool to be able to talk to you, me and Elle going back and forth about one of these things in big paragraph detail is so meaningful to have that kind of connection, and it is connection, and we never would have met without the internet, without this stuff.
And also it opens your eyes to more cultural experiences and more experiences from around the world. I'm in the other side of the world in England right now, and I'm able to talk to people like you guys from America, and we've got other people in that group chat who are in Australia. And it gives you, not only is it you being able to connect and stuff, but you're learning stuff about different cultures, you're learning stuff about different nationalities, and it is still opening your eye. And that's not saying that in-person connection is not vital and important, because it is.
Absolutely.
And you do need that.
Yes.
But it's nice to be able to know that there are always a safe space as well, even if that is online.
And even in relatively local community, over time, I'm people move away, people change, they go places for jobs, they do kind of stuff, and your in-person network can become more of an online network. And even part of our friend group in Los Angeles, where I'm around, we have multiple people, and I will go to shows and I will hang out and go to parties and stuff with those people. But we all live on different graph points around Los Angeles. We would not be hanging out every day, going to a coffee shop, going to a restaurant. Our hangout in the day, our friends going to the coffee shop, is Instagram, is WhatsApp, is Discord. And then we will meet up for events, for things. But so the internet even becomes an important part of in-person connection. And I think that's cool.
So many people have negativity on internet being it's just on your phone, it's just on your iPad, it's just on this. But also the way of the world right now, it's not accessible to be able to just go meet your friends at a coffee shop. So many of us are having to work 9 to 5s, and just leaving the house is costing us money we can't afford to be making. And then, so that's all well and good being go talk to your friends at a coffee shop. I can't afford the coffee. I can't afford to get to the coffee shop or these, but I can afford to sit on my phone and talk to people on Instagram, so at least I'm still getting that connection. It's not taking away the in-person connections,
No,
but
it's additive.
adding a connection where I would otherwise just be still, consuming the media and stuff. I just wouldn't have anyone to talk to. I'd just be alone doing it.
Yeah. It's a time in which you'd still be at home, you'd still be watching the computer, you'd still be doing that stuff, but now you're doing it with people. The fact that like last week I was just in my room and I would have been playing Resident Evil for 3 hours no matter what. And it was either by myself or on Discord with friends. And now they're making jokes, and now we're having fun, and now we're screaming together.
I was asleep.
And you were asleep.
Because time zones suck, and I woke up and I'm like, oh, they were all on Discord at 4 a.m. and I wasn't there.
No, but I will say it has been so much harder to get in-person friends, especially, number one, as an adult. And then number two, post-COVID.
Oh gosh.
That's been an entirely different beast. Like I
100%.
have maybe 3 in-person friends that I see like on the regular, and the rest of the time I'm just like nobody talks to each other because we're all used to COVID. We're like, I don't want to get close to you. In my student center at my college, we're all sitting at separate booths, like along the wall, and there's like one person at each booth because we're just like, no. I don't want to talk to you. So
and that has kind of reset in-person social situations where like most of the people I've met since COVID, honestly, have been going to shows in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
A show that I went to a couple of weeks ago, we were in line, me and 2 of our friends were in line, and we were the first people there, and then some people showed up behind us, and like they had a Dimension 20, which is a dropout D&D show that I really like. And she had a Dimension 20 bag, and I was like, oh, cool bag. And then, did we then proceed to talk about Dimension 20 for a full hour? No, we talked about the video game franchise Fallout for an hour. And that was awesome.
But that touches on it as well.
Yeah.
That is, you're bringing your media, like, these fun things you find online, and that's giving you in-person connections. Like, without that bag, you might not have talked to them, and it could have just been another person that was in line. But through these fandoms and these fan bases and these online things and this media, it's allowed you to find a connection to then have an in-person connection.
Exactly. That was the bridge that then allowed us to now share a bunch of ideas and a bunch of thoughts. Cool.
And people will be like, oh, but everybody's on their phones and stuff. If I'm sitting on a bus and I'm not on my phone, I'm still not going to talk to the person next to me because I've got social anxiety. So at least, like, if I'm on my phone, at least I'm talking to someone. Yeah. Like, that's not changing for me. It doesn't matter 100%. If I'm on my phone or if I'm not on my phone. I'm still not talking to anyone.
So I can either not talk to someone and be lonely or talk to someone, really. That's the thing. It's not like you're not talking to anyone. You are talking to someone on your phone.
But it's like the online friendship thing. We're not just talking to each other over text. Like what you said, Michael. We're on Discord. We all do D&D over Zoom.
Yes.
And so we're still talking to the people online.
Hey.
We're talking to the people online regardless. And it's not a face-to-face interaction by any means, but it is that one step closer.
Absolutely.
So. And it's organic conversations and organic connections. It's not just talking about obscure fandoms or media. We also have proper deep conversations, and we don't always get along, and we still have the same struggles that an in-person relationship might have. And we
genuinely care about each other, and we genuinely are like, I hope you guys have a great day, and if you didn't, like, I'm here to talk to you. So it is
100%.
like it's amazing. Online communities are amazing.
And has been especially to that point of like, yeah, it started with, hey, we all like Smosh, let's talk about that. But then to the point where it's like getting texts from you guys while I'm, dealing with real hard personal stuff, and I'm sitting in a hospital, and Elle's like, hey, if you need to rant or something, like, go ahead and you can say anything. And everyone's like sending well wishes and being okay. And it's like, that's actual life support that is meaningful. And hey, we're here. Thank you guys.
Hey, you're welcome.
Oh, hey, you're welcome. And also now, with these connections, like, if I come to LA, I've got places to stay.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got reasons to travel and explore. I've got, like, connections in all parts of the world, and it then allows you to do, like, go and explore places which you might never have done before.
The fact that if you wanted to go to LA and like come see a show, you wouldn't just be like, I'm going to come to a show and you're standing there in line. You have like 2 to 5 other people who will be there and be like, oh, it's you, and like be excited to meet you in person and be excited to go to that show and be excited to talk. I believe
and then you're all going to hate me by the end of the night, but that's not the point.
Like at one point, I think I did have you open on a video call while we
Yeah,
were.
and I loved it.
Yeah,
And I loved it.
That's awesome. And that's
No,
awesome.
And Michael, I have told people I go to LA to see whatever shows or whatever, but like that's how it started. But then I have started going. I went to Pat Pat mostly so that I could see you guys. I was like, flights are cheap. I want to go to the show, but also I want to see my friends and I want to go to dinner with them.
And then we sit in and out long enough to hear like the order numbers repeat multiple times.
Like 3 times.
Damn.
They went back to
Wild.
1 like 3 times.
Yeah. And
And that's the same thing, like, I want to come to LA, not, well, to see the shows, yes, because, like, I love these people, but also to see all my friends. And, like, if I come, it won't just be now. Like, if I was to come and not know you guys, it would be coming for, like, a week or something to make make the most of the fact that it's, like, a 15-hour flight, and there'd be a show at the night time, but then, except for that, I'd be by myself, like, yes, I'd probably go out and explore, I'd find some cool things. But now I can come there, yes, there's that 3-hour show in the evening, but then my day can be filled with spending time with friends and, like, doing fun things and having, like, it's gonna create so many more memories than just, like, a show.
Yep.
Absolutely. Now it's a whole day. It's a whole hang. And I think that's great. The last time that I went to, again, that show that I met that girl and talked about Fallout, previously, like, we went to Little Tokyo and, like, bought stuff at a Square Enix pop-up and stuff, and, like, having those fun moments and fun memories with friends. Me and Moth standing in the middle of a square singing Pink Pony Club. Like,
Yeah.
there's stuff to do. Like with Avery, again, going to like Pat Pat, when I heard like Avery's going, I was like, well, one, I was already definitely going to go to that show because it was very
Right.
exciting to me. But like, it's like, and Avery's going to be
Phenomenal
there?
show
Hell
from the
yeah.
live stream, guys.
It was so good.
It's just on my computer.
You'll be there in person one of these days.
You'll be there in person one day.
Summer,
And there-
guys. Come on, guys.
Yes.
That, please, just get us
Kickstarter link in our
famous enough
bio.
that I can go. Make it so then that my trip to LA can be a business trip.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Please.
that'd be
We
so
will
great.
do
We do
that.
an in-person recording.
Please, we will record so many episodes for you guys.
So many.
We will.
What a
We'll
fun
do a
thing to
live show if that's what you want, if that will get me to LA.
Oh gosh. Oh,
That'd be
so fun.
so fun.
That'd be so fun. For one, when you do come, even if we're not big enough to like have like a full, doing like from a hotel room a live stream show would be so fun.
That would
Fuck
be so
yes, we
fun.
should do it.
Okay. But yeah, so there you
Yes,
go. So
this-
yes, from neurodivergence to like creating community and as you Avery mentioned, like even just making friends, even neurotypical people as an adult is so hard.
It is.
And so it's been really cool to be able to make new friends out of school, outside of a work, and just be like, hey, here's people I know. Hey, do you know anybody in Missouri? Well, my uncle. But also, I have Avery, my friend.
Hey.
Do you know anybody in London? I do. I have the fact that I was at a show and they were talking about a comedian was like, yeah, I have a show coming up. Like, I don't know, I'm telling you, it's in London. And I was like, I know people in London.
I know people in London, and then I
Yeah.
got a message of this person being like, hey, I got a show coming up. I'm like,
Who is this guy?
And actually, no, we had that same thing. One of the comedians we follow, and Michael's been to quite a few of her shows, and was very. Michael does this amazing thing for me, which I cannot begin to appreciate enough. Where he will sometimes, if the talent is willing and able to, and chill. Me and Michael both do improv together, and a lot of the shows he watches are improvised comedy shows, so he'll ask for them for some tips and like tricks and advice basically, and then he'll send those videos to me, and they mean so much because they're some of my favorite like inspirational people, and like I wouldn't get that opportunity to be at a stage door in LA because I'm over here in London whilst watching those live streams. But I didn't get to hear about that. And he got one from Giovanni giving me and one of our other friends some advice in improv in LA. And then Giovanni ended up coming to London and did a show. And I managed to be like, hey, one of my friends got a video of you giving us advice. And it was really helpful. And she's like, I remember doing that. And then she gave back advice. But it was like a whole thing of being like, that's crazy that she's managed to come to the other side of the world to give a performance. And I'm like, hey, so we've talked. Well,
yes. And you had that
you've
connection.
talked to me.
and seeing that video like and pop up in a thing, and seeing the picture that you got with Giovanni in that video was like, oh my god, this is what it feels like. This is awesome.
Yeah.
And it is so amazing.
Cool.
And I think we could all talk for absolutely hours on fandoms and neurodiversity. And this has kind of now just been a joint episode talking about neurodiversity a little bit. And there's definitely more to go into about that. But mainly about fandoms and stuff, which I think is so amazing. And again, should be a whole nother episode. And I'm sure throughout our time we will do some more episodes on this, because I think they are both such important topics close to home and sort of the heart of this podcast, which is talking about being nerdy and stuff. But one of the reasons we are so nerdy is from our neurodivergence and being able to be nerdy in these safe spaces, which then allow us to do things like this. And hopefully now we will be the ones creating that fandom and that safe space, which is insane to think about. But we will save your ears and this episode here. But please leave in the comments how your relationship with fandoms, and maybe a story about something special that happened to you for a fandom,
or you connected over fandom, what your fandoms are. Just like tell us what you like.
A tip about being neurodivergent, or a piece of media which has really good representation.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. I'm always looking for more representation media. And if you would like us to do another episode on this, even though we probably will, regardless of what you say, leave that down in the comments. Give us a like, give us a subscribe. It means the absolute world to us. And we will catch you on the next episode. We've been the Nerds, and we've been talking. Goodbye.